Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. You know who it is at this point, and it's time for a review because that's what we do here on a regular basis. A review of the new Freddie Gibbs mixtape, Shadow of a Doubt. Freddie Gibbs, or Freddie Kane, or Freddie Corleone, is a Gary, Indiana rapper, and recently a father. And he is a rapper that I've been somewhat indifferent to for a while. That was until he dropped the album Pinata, where he wowed me with the help of legendary underground hip-hop producer Madlib. And I did love the beats on this thing. I actually loved the beats on this thing to death. But it wasn't just the hazy, kind of lo-fi, muffled, vintage, and jazzy instrumentals on this record that made Pinata so good. It was also the very focused, topical, thuggish, but also kind of reflective lines, bars, and verses from Freddie Gibbs. Freddie's work in the past has been kind of general, and there are some people who are doubters going into this new project over here saying Freddie's not that great, and this last project, could have been a fluke, and I sort of understand, but I think if Freddie brings that same focus verse writing into a new project over here, I don't see why it couldn't be as good or just also great. Now we have 15 cuts on this thing, a few bonus tracks, a myriad of different producers across the track list, but all the songs kind of have a pretty uniform sound. The instrumentals on this thing are trap flavored, lots of sub bass, lots of rattling hi-hats. Also, they're very moody, dark, spacious, atmospheric, nocturnal, the perfect soundtrack to Slangin' Kane on the corner at like 2 a.m. by the light of a street lamp. The title of this project is incredibly fitting given how shadowy the production is. And if there's another interesting change on this thing, it's that Freddie is singing on quite a few of these tracks, and the singing's not really that bad. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but it's certainly got character. It's raspy, it's emotive, it's cracked at points. It's not too off pitch or anything like that. I think the only moment where the singing becomes unbearable is on the song Basketball Wives, where Freddie in this very nasally voice is just redundantly repeating this one melody soaked in auto-tune. It is so but I like Freddie singing on a bulk of these other tracks, like on the song Careless. And I like the singing on the song Mexico a lot too, although that's not Freddie. If there's any other track on here I find major fault with, it might be the closer just before the bonus tracks on here, which to me was just kind of a bit of shallow savagery. I thought lyrically Freddie simplified it just a little bit too much, whereas I think you can really dive into a lot of what he's saying on many of these other tracks. And on these other tracks, Freddie's bringing the same dope boy lyricism that you would typically expect from him, although I will say there are a few moments where it does feel general once again, just like his previous material, sort of like on the song Narcos or Forever in a Day. Even the song McDuck, even though it does have some very nice and melodic guest vocals on it, sort of falls into the atmospheric murk that many of these other songs share. But many of the other tracks on here are very focused, very pointed, very gritty, very mean, very in-your-face, or they feature the kind of soul-searching that you would expect from somebody who recently became a father. Sort of like on the very moody and melodic Insecurities, or on the grimy Freddie Gordy, where Freddie Gibbs is kind of teetering between being a dope dealer but also a drug addict, and he's kind of weighing his options and sort of reflecting on his daughter, and having this baby has kind of put into light what's really important. The song Rearview is a hard-hitting and amazing start to the record, where lyrically Freddie is kind of detailing the very dark road and path that he has taken to kind of get to the point where he is now. The song Fuckin' Up the Count, the lead single from this record, I loved it upon first listen, and I love it even more in the context of this record, especially hearing all of these other dark, eerie tracks. The electric piano lead on this song is so wonderful, and the lyrics on this thing are as sad as they are grimy, and kind of circle around a fundamental of dope dealing, and that is not fucking up the count. There is a sample of dialogue from The Wire on this track, which is nothing new for Freddie Gibbs. He has shown the influence that show has had before on his art. Freddie and Black Thought go toe-to-toe on the song Extradite, with some of the better verses on the entire record and a very nice, fast, nimble, jazzy instrumental, and I like the song 10 times as well with E40 and Gucci Mane. The instrumental kind of brings a Bay Area sound on this one. It's smooth, it's sexy, it's kind of sensual, but it has that dark atmospheric tone that a lot of the other songs on this record do. And lyrically, Freddie and the gang, they kind of go into a series of, I guess, I don't know, relationships in quotation marks with a series of women, each rapper having their own experience. Freddie sort of talking about this girl in a sort of loving way, but also she seems to kind of be a drug mule for him or something. Really crazy, dark shit. And the song Packages is a legit, just hard-hitting banger. Wrap it and package it up. Wrap it and package it up. Seems a little ASAP Ferg influenced, especially with the very expressive, cracked, manic flow that he's delivering all over this track. The hook is repetitive but irresistible, and it's probably the high watermark of adrenaline on the entire tape. Overall, I thought this thing was decent. I didn't love it. I think it certainly had its issues and a few low points, but it was cool to just hear Freddie put together another very coherent project, sticking with not only a number of themes lyrically, but a pretty strong sound as well. And he experimented with the singing on this thing, and for the most part, it goes over well. I'm feeling a decent strong 7 on this thing. Tran. So gala. Zishin, have you given this thing a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that's it. I hope you're doing good. Anthony Fantano, Freddie Gibbs, forever.